So today I want to talk about how I keep my house tidy without really doing any extra work. It's not tidy all the time, but this is how I tend to keep it ticking over and fairly tidy. When I had Grace, and I realised that, with a newborn baby, you usually don't even have any free hands, or you have one free hand. That was the time when the house became really chaotic. And we had bought a house that needed renovating, and we were halfway through that, so there was just stuff absolutely everywhere, and I kind of gave up. And my mum came round one day and she said, well, aren't you taking something out every time you leave the room? You should be taking one thing in your hand every time you leave the room. And I thought, am I? Is that common knowledge? Is there some unwritten, rules somewhere that I hadn't seen that said this? And was I such a kind of foolish person for not realising? So anyway, I started to follow this, having something in my hand every time I left the room so that I could keep my house tidy. But what I used to do was gather several things in my hand. So when Grace was in the sling and I had hands free, I used to gather several things and take them into the next room. Now, you probably know what happens when you do that. If you have too many things in your hands, if you have 3 or 4 things in your hands when you go into the next room, what are you going to do with them?
They'll fall.
They'll fall, Grace says. So in order to stop them falling, what you tend to do is just shove them on a workspace, any workspace you can find. For me, in the kitchen, it's like...
You need to put some on something and then bring them into another room and make sure they don't fall.
That's right, Grace. So, this method wasn't working perfectly for me, and then my dad said to me, it's too many things. Just one thing. So I trialled the one thing approach.
That's very silly.
So I trialled the one item method, and I would just take one thing out of the room. So if I was in the lounge, I would always, before I left the lounge, I would always look around and find one thing to take out. And that was working quite well, but one thing I did, which was just strange looking back, was I would find anything in that room to take out. So say it was a jacket, I would look around, take the jacket out. The jacket was going to the porch, but I wasn't going to the porch. So after a while, I realised that this didn't make any sense at all, because I wasn't going to the destination where I was taking the item. So now I only take an item out which is going to the destination I'm going to, or it's going closer to the destination that I'm going to. So I'm not doing any extra work at all. So every time I leave the lounge to go into the kitchen, I'll scan around, and if there's a mug, I'll take that one mug through. I will allow myself to take more than one of something if it's the same genre. So when I go upstairs, I will often take several bits of washing that I've left at the bottom of the stairs for that purpose. But not different things, because again, I will just end up putting them somewhere, and then all I've done is relocated. I haven't finished any job. I've kind of kidded myself that I've done something, but I haven't. It's better to put 2 things away than to put 5 things semi-away, because then you've just got another job unfinished that you're going to look at as you go around the house. So that is one tip I would say. Keep it simple, keep it to 1 or 2 things. You've only got 2 hands, so if you're hands free and you have more than 2 things in your hands, you aren't going to be able to put them back straight away. The other thing that I do, which I must thank Clutterbug for, and I will leave a link below. She is great, she's hilarious, she's from Canada, and she really helps you to organise your home depending on your style. So I did her quiz and figured out that I was a real kind of butterfly. So that means I organise things visually, and I also need things to be very quick and easy. So one of the things that's perfect for me is to have baskets, but baskets without lids. If I'm going to have to open a lid or take something off before I can, open a lid. If I'm going to have to open a lid, I'm not going to put that thing back. So in my house, I have strategically placed baskets. Basket near my kitchen door, where I put little things like change. There's a glass jar in there, and I put change in. So anything that gathers in the lounge, like bits of change, are easy to just move to the right spot. Because I have these baskets, I tend to have them in the corners of rooms or at the end of surfaces, and I'll do another video on that because I find that so helpful. I used to try the one-touch rule when I had a newborn, which, as you may know, is the idea that you only touch something once and you deal with it straight away. I just found that didn't work. I couldn't always deal with something straight away. So if I don't know, got a letter and had to open it and deal with it straight away, it just wasn't realistic. So I had to find spots for these things that I could contain. So I knew I'd put them somewhere sensible, and they'd be somewhere sensible and contained, but not at their final destination. Because with a newborn, and even with a toddler, you are interrupted so often, there's no point setting yourself up to that standard of the one-touch rule. And also with something like washing, you can take it all upstairs on you when you're going upstairs to do something else, but you can't necessarily fold it there and then. Because you just might not have that time, because your baby might need a feed. But rather than not use the time at all, may as well semi-get there without creating more mess than not get there at all. I'm pretty sure it's Fly Lady, but a few other people say it. Progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. So instead of looking for the perfect way to do absolutely everything, think, is this making some progress? Is my house a little bit tidier? And I can honestly say, since I've decluttered many things, and I have these baskets, and I do this one item rule tidying, my house stays fairly tidy. The other thing I used to do when I first got into this new tidying system was I set standards for myself that were just actually too high for me personally. So when I got into this putting things back straight away, or taking one thing out of the room with my hand as I went, I used to do things like, if it was a mug, I would take it out of the lounge into the kitchen and straight into the dishwasher. Now that's a bit of a faff, because you've got to open the dishwasher and then close the dishwasher, and if it's just 1 teaspoon, you've got to open the dishwasher and repeat. So I came to a happy medium, which was I would put things close to their destination. That was fine for me. So if it were a plate, I would try and stick it in the worktop above the dishwasher on another pile of plates. With a teaspoon, I'm trying to put it in a mug by those plates, so that the space looked tidy enough, but I wasn't setting myself this high standard that was just irritating me. And I was kind of trying to be somebody that I'm not really, because to put every single thing away each time.
May I put you a piece of paper?
Thank you, Grace. So anyway, I hope this helps. I used to wonder whether if I did this, I'd always be tidying, but now it's automatic. And I honestly feel like it's probably harder for me to leave the room without something in my hand than it is with it, because I've become so used to it. Okay, bye for now.